No? Okay, so for those of you that were gone today, stuff you gotta know. You do have a quiz on Thursday, so I'm just trying to make sure you got all this in there. So one of the first things that was in your notes, but I love props, so I'm going to do this separately, is structures of proteins. So we have 4 structures of proteins, and it listed in your notes: primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary. So our primary structure is determined by the DNA. So I'm going to use this as my primary structure. This is from Tubers and Zotz. And so our primary structure determined by DNA is purple. Our primary structure is just purple. Now, back in bio, when you had that table, like you got a codon that was like UAG, and then there was that table, and then you had to look up UACG, and then all that, and you had to find the U and the A and the C, and then it was a certain amino acid. That's what I'm talking about. All the amino acids, that's the primary structure. So if you don't know what that is, I know it's in your book. Okay, now secondary, so regular second level, secondary structure. This is going to be very technical, so you need to watch carefully. Ready? I'm taking the primary structure and I'm coiling it. This is one type of secondary structure. It's called an alpha helix. So alpha helix is a secondary structure, alpha helix, okay? Now, we have another type of secondary structure, and ready, this is another one that you have to pay attention to. Ready? Ready? And it's called a pleat, P-L-E-A-T. This is a pleat, and it's called a beta pleat. Now, this is different than our glucoses. Some people are trying to associate it with glucoses, the alpha glucose and beta glucose. Not the same thing. They just memorize them separately. Those are not the same thing. So now we've got tertiary, and tertiary is spelled weird, I know. Tertiary, T-E-R-T-I-A-R-Y, tertiary. I had people trying to get a S-H in there, I don't know. Okay, this is going to be very technical. Ready? So watch. I've got a secondary structure, and boom, I made a tertiary. I know, it's pretty big. Ready? I have a secondary structure, and I'm going to make a tertiary. Boom. So, for a definition for tertiary, it's a folded secondary structure. That's all it is. Now, for quaternary, quaternary means fourth. Ready? This is going to be very detailed as well. Ready? Boom. Quaternary structure. It's the combination of 2 or more secondary or tertiary structures. They don't have to be both beta pleated sheets. They don't have to be both alpha helixes. It can be anything. This is called a globular protein. If you look at it, you're like, it's a glob. Yes, it's a globular protein. All right. Now, the next thing I talked about was, this is good old from bio, denature. This morning I denatured my hair. I used a flat iron. I took my frizzy hair and I flat ironed it. I used heat to denature my protein. This protein is called keratin. You can use a curling iron. If you've taken an egg and put it in a pan, the egg white itself is called albumin. It's good. You could eat a regular egg. It's okay. I like it in a pan. Crack it in a pan. It's still albumin. It's just now it's been denatured. Heat will denature it. Now, if you've ever seen anybody who got a perm, it curls their hair, or I guess you could have curly hair and then straighten it. But curly hair, that is denaturing it using pH. It's a very basic solution. It's called a perm, and it's denaturing your hair. In the same way, like what about food? If you marinate a steak or marinate, chicken or something like that, you put an acid on it. So it's either lemon juice, vinegar, something like that, and that will change the meat so that it's easier to chew. So those are things we talked about. The other thing we talked about today was protein, hormones, and I know I have this on the stuff you got to know. Protein hormones versus lipid hormones. Now, protein hormones are made from amino acids. This is going to be like your insulin, human growth hormone, that kind of thing. Those are protein hormones. Lipid hormones are
Mary Kate Miley, please come to the main office. Mary Kate Miley, please come to the main office.
Lipid hormones are cholesterol-based, like your estrogen, testosterone. Those are cholesterol-based. So cholesterol is a lipid. That's what makes those different. We are going to talk a little bit more about those tomorrow. Tomorrow we're talking about enzymes. And that's it.